Hello and welcome to the LexPD YouTube channel. Maybe you have a bar index by now, or you're thinking about buying one, and you're wondering how on earth do I use this thing on the exam. So today we're going to walk you through a few practice questions from the LSO website and show you how you would use the indexes to find the answers to those questions. Before we jump into the questions, though, I would like to spend just a little bit of time going through how our index is laid out. There's a full preview video, which I'll link up here, sort of going through this in detail. But just so we have a lay of the land before we jump into practice questions, we'll spend a little bit of time on the same materials here. I've opened the Professional Responsibility Index as an example. And you'll see that the indexes are categorized by alphabet. So we have a section or a table for each letter of the alphabet that we have terms for. On the far left column of every table, you have the term itself, followed by qualifiers. These are all sorted alphabetically within the letter. So account qualifier starting with C, account qualifier starting with G. They're all sort of going down in alphabetical order from there. You then have a column for the chapter number. It tells you what chapter number this term or this information can be found in, what page number it's on, and what section on that page that it's on. You'll also note, and this is the important part I want to go through today, that the page numbers are accompanied by a letter. We have B, we have A, and if we go down to here, you can see we have an A, B. What does that mean? If you've seen the LSO materials, you know that the pages are, there's two columns of text on every page. There's a left column and a right column. Page numbers accompanied by an A tell you that the information in that term is on the left column. So if you are flipping to that page, let's say page 129A, you know that you're going to only look in the left-hand column to find this information about accounts and records keeping. If you have a page number that's accompanied by a B, then that means that that information is on the right-hand side column of the LSO materials. So again, if you're looking for accounts, record keeping, requirements about the source of documents, and you're required to keep them for 10 years, you're going to go to page 127B. Page numbers that are accompanied by both an A and a B help you know what part of the column to go to. Obviously, this information is contained in both the A and the B columns of this page. If we look at accounts, trust account, page 117 AB. But we are very careful when we index, and this information, when you see an AB like this, it means that it's probably on the bottom half of the A column and it's flowing over into the B. It's not going to be the whole of the A column or the whole of the B column. It's information that's crossing over both. So when you see an AB, you know when you flip to that page, you'll probably navigate to the lower half of the column A, find that information, and you're going to read through to column B. So that's how you would navigate sort of the pages when you find information. Obviously, we have the section numbers as well, which can help too. If you are looking on page B, for instance, we have these two terms here, 128B and 127B. Let's say these are on the same page. They're not, but let's say they were on the same page. You would also know that when you're in column B looking for this information, you can skip right to section 6.4.2, or you can skip right to section 6.4.1. So the section numbers also help you further pinpoint where in that column this information is represented. Having that information under our belt and knowing how the index is laid out, we can now jump into practice questions. So I've navigated to the LSO website where they have a few what they call licensing, under the licensing examination section, sample examination questions. There are a few here for both the barrister and solicitor examinations. Obviously, the paralegal licensing examination questions do not apply to Ontario bar students. I'm just going to tackle question 1 here as an example, so you have a sense for how you might use this information, or use the index, to find the information you need to answer this question. So if we read the question, Terry, a lawyer, returns from vacation. When reviewing a trust account for her firm, she discovers that her partner has withdrawn money from the trust account to pay his personal taxes and then redeposited the amount into the trust account. What is Terry required to do to meet her professional responsibility obligations? A, report the incident to the Law Society, B, report the incident to the firm's insurer, or C, nothing because the money has already been returned, or D, change office procedures to prevent a reoccurrence of this behavior. Now, if you were faced with this question on the exam under pressure, you might think, well, all of these sound right. I don't know which one to pick. And I don't remember what specifically I read in the materials about this kind of situation. So you'd flip to your index. You would find a specific term in your index that is going to point you to the right information. Now, we have a course called the LexPD Bar Essentials course, which goes further into detail about how you read questions carefully, how you identify keywords that you would then use to implement to find terms in the index. I'm not going to go through all that information here. If you're interested in taking the course, you can certainly do that. It's available on our website, lexpd.ca. For our purposes today, we'll just do sort of a quick analysis of this question. We know it's concerning a trust account, and we know it's concerning about withdrawal of money, potentially misappropriation of funds, right? This lawyer has used client funds in order to pay his taxes. Now, he's returned the money, but he initially took the money out of the trust account in order to pay personal taxes. This is a misappropriation of client funds because any funds your client give you should be used in pursuit of their legal action or defense of their legal action if you're on the defense side. So I know it's about trust accounts. I know it's probably about misappropriation of funds. I will go to the T section of the index to look for the word trust account. So we'll navigate to that now. So in this index, T starts on page 83. All new terms or new letters in the index start on an odd page so that when you have organized your index in printed form, because you're going to be doing this in print, I'm doing it electronically so it's easy for me to show you today, but when you're doing this in a printed form, you're going to have your index tabbed by letter so you can quickly flip to the letters that you need to navigate to. So when the terms start on odd pages, that means that they're going to be, if you print your index double-sided, which we recommend, the first page of a letter is going to be on the right-hand side of your binder, which is very easy to tab and then flip to. So I've navigated to T, and now this is sorted alphabetically, so I need to find TR in order to find trust accounts. So I'm going to scroll down until I find TI, TR. Okay, we found TR down here, starting with transaction. Now I need to go to TRU to find trust. All right, here's the word trust, but this is trust on its own. I need to find ones that start with trust account. There we go. And I said it's going to be misappropriation of funds. So that's going to be a qualifier, what we call a qualifier on the word trust account. So it's going to be the letter starting after this dash here, which here it's trust account dash C, client liabilities. So we need to scroll down until I get to trust account dash M for misappropriation. So we keep going. All right, here we go. Trust account, misappropriation of trust funds. And it's telling me that that information is in Chapter 14 on page 119B in Section 4.3. So if I were to flip to the LSO materials now, which I can't show you because they are copyrighted materials and are only available to those who have actually registered for the exam. But if I were to flip to the materials in the LSO, I would be finding information on the right-hand side column of page 119 under section 4.3 about what to do when trust account funds have been misappropriated. We've given you a little example here that's kind of a mock-up to show you what that would look like. But again, if you were to look at this, if you have the LSO materials for 2023-2024, you can certainly try this on your own. You should find information about misappropriation of trust accounts funds on that page. So that's an example of how you would be using your index. Obviously, you need to get faster and faster at doing this. You won't do this for absolutely every question on the exam. You don't have time for it. So knowing how to read the questions and logic your way through them without referencing the materials is also a skill, which again is taught in that Bar Essentials course that I mentioned earlier in this video. But for questions that you absolutely need to look at the materials for, there's going to be plenty of questions where they're asking you detailed information about section numbers or of legislation or specific dollar amounts of, in real estate maybe. You're absolutely going to need to look at your materials for that. You will not remember that information. So you'll need to get faster and faster at doing this. So it's very valuable to practice doing this with your index, preferably printed. But you can do it electronically while you're still in your early practice stages as well. And you can absolutely use the LSO practice questions as a reference point. There's not a lot of them there, so you'll probably need access to more. There are plenty of companies out there that offer them, and LexPD is working on their own version of practice questions as well, which we hope to have out very, very soon. So do keep an eye out for that. But be careful when you're using practice questions. Make sure that they are the level of detail and the level of sort of analysis that the LSO questions require of you. The ones on the website are a good benchmark for the kind of questions you would see on the exam. So if you have purchased practice questions from a company and they are really easy and they're just asking you to identify the definitions of things, that's probably not going to be representative. Obviously, you can still use those to help you practice using your index, but they are not really going to be representative of the amount of logic and thinking through you're going to need to do on the exam itself. So just be aware of that. Use the LSO questions on the LSO website as your benchmark for how difficult these questions are and how much detail they ask you to go into or how much thinking through you have to do. Obviously, there's a skill to thinking through the question and knowing what terms to look up in your index as well. That is a skill you're going to need to develop before you take this exam so that you know how to use your index properly. Again, that's a skill that we teach in the Bar Essentials course. If you are looking for more help on that or you're confused about how exactly this works, that's definitely a course that I highly recommend students take in order to learn the strategy behind how to approach questions and how to manage time on the exam. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions or you'd like to purchase our index, you can do that on our website, lexpd.ca/index. We are here to help. Our courses are also available on our website, lexpd.ca. And happy studying and good luck with the bar exam.